evening, role players. I can hear myself on OBS, but let's make sure that you can hear me on YouTube and Kick. Good evening, role. Yep. Can indeed. Boy, that was like an hour of tech troubleshooting. I am so glad I started early. Wow. Boy, if I had started 30 minutes early like usual, that would have been freaking hell. Okay. So, I want to welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let's pull up chat so I can see you. And we have Left-Handed Jedi being super supportive and present like usual. Thank you so much for being here. And let's pull up my little thing so I can remember what I got planned for today. Okay. So, like I said, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's Game and Gab. I'm Vic. Get cozy, grab a snack, drink, and a blanket, and let's chill, play some fun roleplay games, and run away with some tangents while I react to a video. I decided to try playing Guild Wars 2 while reacting. We'll see how it goes. Excuse me. We'll see how that goes. If I am struggling to really listen to what's going on, then I will. I'll just switch back over to Mothership, so that I can, pause as I need to. But we started with MMOs on this channel, and this is the latest MMO that I've kind of gotten into, and I wanted to give it a shot, see how it'd go. So, there is technically a drinking game. It's, I'm doing with water. We're going to keep it to generic drink triggers for now, where 1 drink is equal to 1 sip. I'm struggling to breathe, so I'm yawning. Excuse me. So, our generic typical triggers are Vic gets distracted. This includes tangents. I foresee that being a big thing. Vic ruins the stream, so if there is a tech problem that is my fault, I will say that I ruined the stream and take it right. And oh, this could be quite a big one. Vic talks about a tabletop role-playing game she's played or is playing. I mean, that's all we're going to talk about today, so we'll be having a lot of triggers for that. And if Jester enters the chat, take 3 sips. And maybe we'll do like a last one where I'm so sorry, I'm trying to control my breathing so I'm not yawning. Maybe we'll do one more trigger that's like somebody bashes like Wizards of the Coast or something like that, since Wizards of the Coast is kind of like, they've kind of monopolized the fantasy tabletop gaming industry. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna adjust myself. You might hear some noise or something. I need to scoot back. Okay. Yeah, so there's I've got kind of a weird setup going on this time around. In addition to the secondary monitor that I set up for this kind of stream, but I've also got kind of a weird uh, set up for my back going on so that I can be here for the long haul. But yeah, well, let's see if we can incorporate a drinking trigger, like you know, someone says something negative about Wizards of the Coast or something like that, and maybe I'll keep track of drinks here. Oh, and obviously, I would take a drink if somebody does any sort of like donation to the Venmo or CashApp in the description. I believe I'm able to track that live on my phone. So, and if you send a little note with it saying, you know, I'm this person on YouTube, or I'd like access to, you know, this perk for a month or something like that, you know, well, we obviously can work something out. So, which you can take a look at the Patreon to see if there are perks that you would like to see that interest you. And, you know, if you donate the equivalent amount of that member level or whatever it is, tier, membership tier, you donate that via Venmo or Cash App, and you just want it to be like a 1 month sort of thing, you don't want it to be an ongoing thing, then you'll get those perks for a month as well. So, let me add, before we go any further, I would like to see if I could add a little drink tracker sort of thing. I don't think I'll be able to do it quickly, actually, now that I'm looking at it. This might actually take take more than, well, maybe if I could just very, very quickly pick a script, I could do it. Let's go with that one, and we'll do drinks. And we need an outline, and the outline needs to be black. And outline size can go up. Okay, that's a concerning. I might have to up the that. Is that all right? Maybe here. I'll up the contrast. If I do this later, because I just kind of decided this on the fly, then I could what I could do is make it the same as the rest of the background text. And all right, so we'll just make this a little bit bolder. I'm gonna show it a little bit bolder, a little bit colder. Where is it? Oh, outline size. There we go. Do that. And we'll make it line up there. All right. How's that? See how that goes. It'll be kind of a more difficult to update than the text, but I don't want to deal with having another window open. So, alrighty then. All that said, we've got our drinks up. If you haven't already, remember to like and comment. We want more subs to get the custom emojis. And, you know, the whole thing about everyone has their own opinions and, you know, nobody is responsible for anyone else's. And, you know, fact check everything. Our question of the week that I would love to hear from you, whether you are watching this live or watching this after the fact, is what other videos do you want me to react to? That would be amazing if you could let me know what other videos you'd like to see me react to. I've got a couple saved up, but there is one that I haven't put on my list. Excuse me. There is one that I haven't put on my list that is big on Tater the Bard's channel. I have not seen it before. And since I've thought about this idea, I haven't watched it because I'm wondering if it would be interesting to watch for the first time. So, Tater the Bard has always makes references to this, like the worst dungeon master he's ever had. And that worst dungeon master he's ever had is named Nathan. He has a video that is like the entire story that he talks about his worst ever DM and all the crazy drama that surrounded his DM. And it's called the Nathan Saga. And so I am going to put up a poll, and you can tell me in the comments. You can also tell me by liking the video. So if you like the video, you can let me know that you want to see this. So, do you want me to react to the Nathan Saga? So there's yes, nah, and potatoes. If you want to say yes and potatoes, I'd rather you click yes and then put potatoes in the chat. That'd be great. Okie dokies. We have our poll up. And I also take guests for Game and Gab streams. Though I need to get, it would be nice if I actually got the link for it, wouldn't it? Oh, sorry, your screen's gonna look black for a second. I apologize. It's because I have it on. Here, we'll move it over here. There you go. So we'll make a link invite for you so that anybody can join. And then we'll pin it to the chat. So if you are uh, 18 plus, you can join me on stage. And we can have a good old chat while we're reacting to stuff. Okay, so this has kind of been a long intro because I've been kind of fiddling with things as we go, and so I've been slow. But that is pretty much it. So let's just jump right into it. If you have any concerns, if there are problems with any ethical issues, or you have any questions, I have a bunch of resources in the description, and also just feel free to comment, chat, whatever you got. Let me know, and we'll go through it. So let's go ahead and get started, and then I'm gonna go ahead and try and play Guild Wars 2 while we're going. It will be a journey. We'll see how this goes. Oh, I know I turned my thing off, but hopefully, okay, yeah, it does make it so that it's mute on your end, but just in case, we'll mute it twice in case I do something silly with the volume. All right, here we go. Tell me if you hear this video, pretty please.
I am making this video today to laugh at you all. I'm kidding. Kind of. I asked my community to share their biggest dungeon mastering mistakes with me.
You can't really see. I wanted to have the captions up so that, you know, in case there were any problems, you could at least hear it. And then also you could see what his last thought was. And so you don't have to like keep rewinding. But it makes it so you can't see the meanings, the meaning captions. Maybe we'll do like this.
I am making this video today to laugh at you all. I'm kidding. Kind of. I asked my community to share their biggest dungeon mastering mistakes with me.
All right, if I keep my mouse off, it'll be fine. We'll be fine. All right. How do we feel about the volume, guys? I'd like to put this, I need to put this side by side. So it'll definitely mess with the proportions on my thing. There we go. Yeah, that definitely messes with proportions. I'll have to fix that. I'm sorry. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Just give me a minute. 1 second. I fix it. I fix it. Give me a second. There. I fix it. We fix. Audio is good. It's a little louder than me, you say. Okay. Let's go to the brow. Oh, I see. That's because it's set on the default. Okay, I'll bring it down just a little bit. Just an itty bit. It's just 0.1 decibel quieter. So, Jedi says maybe pick a fantasy movie or series you'd like to see run as a one-shot or campaign with a good plotline. Oh, I like that suggestion. Wow. Okay. So that did kind of like cross my mind, but I was really worried that I wouldn't have like anything substantial to like really add to it. But we could always try one episode and see. Like it's not, it's not going to hurt anything. And if I feel like, I'm not transforming, like I'm not like I'm not adding anything good to it. Or, I don't want to be those lazy reacting channel sort of things where you're essentially just watching the video with their little face at the corner, Like I want to make sure that I comment on the thing. And so far that's why I've been doing things that are like discussion sort of commentary sort of things. And I just have no idea what'll happen if I do the campaigns. True, Jedi, go over the plot, what you'd keep or get rid of. Yeah. maybe some things that like I learn from it as well. Like that'd be kind of a good idea. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I will write that down. Let me add that to my notes here. I will add the idea. Let's see. So it would be a TTRPG campaign that I want to watch. It'd be one that I would likely choose one that I have not seen yet, but I've kind of been like, you know, dancing around wanting to see. I love the suggestion, Jedi. That is an excellent suggestion. Thank you. That's a really good suggestion. And because it is the TTRPG campaigns tend to be pretty listenable, that would be so good to be able to play a more active game towards, as long as it's a game that doesn't require me to listen to the dialogue. So like for Guild Wars 2 at least, you have the main story, which does have a lot of dialogue that you would probably need to listen to. I mean, maybe you don't have to, but it definitely improves the experience, and I personally like to know about the story. And then there's essentially just the more grindy quests part that are, you know, more open world sort of thing. That's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do the more grindy quest part that doesn't have a lot of dialogue. And that way I'm not going to, you know, it's not going to disturb things. I'd be able to play more games, especially if I'm playing a game that I've already played before. Right now I'm replaying Skyrim as well, though I'm doing a lot of new things on Skyrim. I'm doing a new play style I've never played before. I'm doing a magic user, and also I've done the stealth archer and the just like heavy armored, you know, two-handed brute sort of thing. That was the easiest one, obviously. And then the stealth archer, I think I had the most fun with. And this magic one, I really wanted to do because I really wanted to experience the College of Winterhold. Anyway, this is a tangent. Drink for a tangent. I got myself on a tangent. I'm sorry. And also, me setting up the whole thing with the like drinks and all that stuff, that took a while. So I'd say that was pretty unprofessional of me. I pretty much ruined the stream. Let's do 2 drinks. That's 1. And that's 2. Yeah, let's go ahead and add that to the counter. There we go. All right. So you have 1,000+ hours in Skyrim. I think I was getting close to that in Baldur's Gate. Let's see. Skyrim. I've started logging more hours, so 303.5 hours. Baldur's Gate. Oh no, I'm nowhere near close to 1,000. I'm just under 550 hours in Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah. So, Guild Wars 2, I only started playing it again recently. I did kind of a short foray into it 10 years ago. And now, you know, I've decided that I kind of like it. At least I like it more so than the Elder Scrolls Online. Which is weird because I do enjoy Skyrim, but I don't know, I'm not enjoying the MMO version of it. I like the scope of the MMO, but I just can't get into it. Anyway, another tangent. Does it count as a separate tangent if it was one tangent line following directly out of the other? I'm not entirely sure. Tangents are so nebulous. But let me go ahead and write down stuff that I would comment on. So, because I love your suggestions, Jedi. No, Jedi. That, what? Lieutenant Jedi says, correction. I got nearly 6,000 hours. I looked it up. Oh my gosh. How many years does that equate to of just game time? Let me, okay, now, I don't care if this is a tangent. I have to look this up. How many hours in a year? Oh, it is just shy of a year. You are so close. So let's see how many days that was. So that's 6,000 divided by 24. That's 250 days, bro. 250 days of game time. Holy crap. Obviously, for reference, there are 300, just a little bit over 365 days a year. But wow, just a solid gaming, 250 days. That is next level gaming. Like, I know I've done a lot of gaming in my life, and I'm sure that I've gotten into the years for, like, total amount of gaming, but I don't know if I've ever spent that much time on one game. Even the games that I've played the most in my life, which is like Sly 2, and which I just played that shit over and over. But the thing is that was back before like the open world stuff where you had all that like side quests and everything. It was pretty linear. You could play the game, you could finish playing it in just about let's see. I would usually do it in like 4-hour sittings, and it would take me like 3 days to do it. So 4 times 3, 12. So probably about 12 hours, just about. Left-handed Jedi says the only other game is Warhammer 40k Soulstorm is 500 hours. Well, that's that's just under the amount of hours that I have in Baldur's Gate. Damn. Let's see, how much do I have in Age of Mythology? I played that a lot. Surprisingly less than Baldur's Gate, which is funny because I've played Age of Mythology over and over. That's 483 hours. This is a massive tangent. There's no way this is entertaining for people. I'm so sorry. What's going on? Why does it look like that? I guess because it's a group? Okay, whatever. Yeah, so this has been a massive tangent brought to you by Left-Handed Jedi. You're pretty much my only viewer, Jedi, so I guess I guess as long as we're both entertained. Let me make sure that I've got here we go. Oh, I could possibly have 2 viewers tonight. Could possibly have 2. Legend of Jedi says, my daughter played the hell out of World of Warcraft and Minecraft. I didn't think about that. Oh, wow. I could not tell you how many hours I spent on World of Warcraft. I played that for a long time. I started playing that when I was 11. No. I had to start playing before then because I moved out of the first house when I was 11. I had to start playing when I was 10. So, but I just didn't start talking with anyone until I was like around 12. Wow, okay, so if I was starting at 10, that was 19 years ago. And I stopped playing WoW about 2 years ago. So 17 years. Man. And I played that pretty regularly. There were only a couple of times when I would just stop. Like there was one time where I just stopped playing for like, I don't know, almost 2 years. This time around, I just, like, at the end, I wasn't interested in any of the story because it was all focused on goblin shit. Even though I was kind of interested in seeing where they were going to go with the Harbinger of the Void sort of thing. But, and I wanted to see the whole, you know, Midnight trilogy sort of thing. But it was so expensive that I felt pressure to play. And it was no longer fun. I can't do subscription model gaming. Like, unless the subscription is crazy, crazy low. Like, no more than $5 a month. And even then, that's kind of more than I would like. My avatar is having a hard time tracking. I noticed it was doing this before, but I thought I fixed it. Let me try. This might sound a little harsh to the ear. I'm just gonna unplug my mic and plug it back in. I'm sorry. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. No, it's not. Okay, well, is it not picking up the mic? It should pick up the mic. Let's see, what's it set to? I see the camera. Where's... I don't know what's going on. Why it is struggling to capture. Like, it doesn't have a thing for... That's weird. Okay, you're just gonna have to deal with the fact that my lips aren't moving very much. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, Jed, I know you can hear me. It's just that my virtual avatar sort of thing is only face tracking, but it's not hearing. Oh, is it now? Is it hearing my? No, not. Okay, never mind. So the thing is that the lip sync only works fully if it can not only see my lips, but if it can also hear, like, my mic, like if it picks up my mic. And for some reason, it's not picking up my mic. And I tried to fix it before I started the stream, but it's not working right now. I'm gonna have to figure that out later. I don't want to have to restart it at the moment. So it's just, you're gonna be able to hear me, but my my lip syncing will not be good. It'll be sporadic. So for like the more subtle, like talking, it's just gonna look, you know, you're not gonna see it moving that much. Okay. So Jedi has posted a link that there are 2 Patreon memberships. Lovely. Thank you so much for posting that. A potion seller has joined us. Guild Wars 2 had a decent model, though I don't want to imagine how much actual money I spent on Black Lion boxes. Oh, no. No, thank you. 1 second. I'm going to have to go on a quick intermission. I will be right back. 1 second. We'll be right back. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you for waiting for me. Hopefully you can hear me now. Let's see. Quite a bit of a delay on mine for some reason. That thing, weird. Not sure. Why does it say that there's an hour-and-a-half limit? Okay, this is concerning me. I'm not sure what's going on. Weird. Okay. Anyway, lovely to see you guys. I see Anarchic Fox is with us. Thank you so much for joining. And I was just about to say, before I had to step away, that I really dislike how many games have implemented a loot box part of their game. It's become like it's video game gambling, and I honestly, it really it degrades the game, in my opinion. Like I really dislike that Guild Wars 2 has loot boxes. I appreciate that I don't have to pay a subscription, but it's clear that they're making up for that by doing other shady tactics, and I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of any game that does any sort of loot boxes, any sort of gacha games, as in like gachapon, GACHA, where you the sort of thing where you it's like a loot box where in order to get the type of characters you want or the cards you want, you have to put in money, and it randomly spits out whatever kind of quality, you know, it's based off of Japanese gachapon, which is like the old-fashioned, I don't know if you guys remember, but like in grocery stores and whatnot, they would have these little vending, like these little boxes, and you'd put like a whatever amount of change, anywhere from like 50 cents, 75 cents, and this little ball, plastic ball, would come out, and you'd pop open the ball and it'd have your little toy inside. Or some of them would just put in like little pieces of packaged candy, you know, keychains, whatever. It's based off of that, and they created like Japan like took that and dialed it up to 9,000 with you know, different they would actively label it with different rarity, so that it wasn't based off of just like, wow, I tend to see more of these kinds of things, or I see less of these. Now they're actively telling you the rarity, so that when you get it, you either get that feeling of, oh man, I didn't get the rare one, I need to get the rare one, this isn't labeled rare, or it's labeled like super rare or super special rare or whatever, and you get that instant dopamine rush. It's that sort of thing is made digital. I hate those sorts of games. Those have become really popular on mobile app games. I do not like those at all. But it's so lovely to see everybody. Thank you so much for everyone who has joined. Lieutenant Jedi says Overwatch was huge on loot boxes. Yes, a lot of, I would say, like, Battleground, Battle Royale, Arena type games, sort of things, where, you know, stuff that's like Fortnite, Overwatch, what else? There was, I remember that Star Wars Battlefront the remade game, they put loot boxes in there. Gosh, just like so many dumb loot box stuff. And it seems to be the most popular. Loot boxes seem to be the most popular in like competitive player versus player games. But you know, obviously we're seeing them everywhere else now. And I find it so scummy. I don't like it. Potion Sully says 100% agree. It's just like, especially when it's in games. Anyway, we are like almost halfway through the live and we haven't even started the video. So, but I love chatting with you guys. So, Anarchic Fox says, but how can you play a game without poop roulette, right? Ugh. Legendary Jedi says, I won't lie, not a fan of MMOs. I like playing solo. That's kind of why I do enjoy playing solo. And in fact, when I play an MMO, I will by and large play solo. However, I sometimes like the gaming style that are on MMOs. It's kind of hard to describe. I especially like Guild Wars 2's play style because you don't have to like actively group up and team up with people or like go out and find a guild to play. Excuse me. To play like in-world stuff. Like if a world event pops up, it advertises it to everybody who's nearby. And so people and you're not competing for resources. Everybody, you know, will get credit for it. Like I remember when I first played it after playing WoW for so long, and the fact that we weren't fighting over who could get the first shot on an enemy just so I could complete a quest, like that was such a relief. And here's the thing, like WoW kept doing that with factions because they wanted that faction sort of hostility, especially going into expansions that played on that. But I don't enjoy that. I don't like games that pit me against others. That's why I don't do PvP. In fact, I find PvP very stressful. I don't enjoy it. But there are some worlds that also fascinate me because MMO worlds can be really big. There are exceptions to this where a game has like the open world idea with lots of quests and side quests where it doesn't feel super linear and you can kind of do whatever you want. I like that. But however, there is like maybe a main story that if you want to go on, and that's why I've enjoyed Skyrim so much. Because it's very much like that. And I've been lately, like I said, I've been playing Skyrim more than MMOs. And I see people, no worries about anyone derailing the stream. The stream was already derailed when we started. This stream has no rails. There were not good odds for us starting this game. But let's take a look at what everybody is saying. Oh yeah, Left-Handed Jedi says pachinko parlors about the loot boxing stuff. Anarchic Fox says, when I get home from this rotation at work, I get to play Zero Company. Path of Exile. I've heard about that. That seems to be a very popular game. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard it's popular. Anarchic Fox says, "Oh, Zero Company is the new Star Wars tactical game." Interesting. Exactly, Anarchic Fox. This stream never had rails. This is a rail-less stream. Okay. Well, so I don't want to lie about the title, so let me go ahead and actually attempt to start. Let's attempt to start the video. And while it's going, I'm going to take a drink.
So that I could poke a little bit of fun at them, but in a constructive way. See, dungeon mastering is hard, and it is a skill set that you have to learn. And the thing about learning things is that you have to screw up a lot. You have to make the goofs and then look at your own goofs and go, oh, I see why that was disastrous. And then you don't make that goof again. So what we're doing today is looking at all of your dungeon mastering goofs so that people who haven't made those goofs can look at them and go, ah, yeah, now I know not to do that too. We might make a little fun of some people, but the YouTube post that I made asking for these said I was gonna poke fun of people, so we're all cool with this, and it's for a constructive cause.
So I am very embarrassed to say that I have been working on my first ever little adventure to play, to, you know, have that I've created for my game master to play. So I want to game master for my game master, since he tends to always be the game master and he really enjoys playing tabletop role-playing games. He can't get enough. And I have a couple of other people who are really excited. And I offered to do this. Oh my gosh, I really hope it hasn't been a year. Oh, I really hope it hasn't been a year since I offered to do this, because I never kicked it off. No, it hasn't been a year, because I did say that I would I'd be out of commission starting July. And okay, so I started I think I started, it was like May or April. One of those, May or April. I can't remember when Wolfo's birthday was. I'm sorry, Wolfo. It's not popping up on me. I can't find it. Maybe it was February? Anyway, this is a lot of hunting that I really should not do on streaming. Yeah, so okay, so it was this year, but it's been a while. It's been quite a few months. And I can tell that I've already made a mistake by trying to build the adventure myself. That people really strongly recommend using a pre-built adventure. I have not done that. I really should have. But the thing is, I was like, I want to build this thing for free and only use whatever resources are either freely available or have been shared with me. And I was worried that I wouldn't be able to find an adventure that would be really interesting that was still free. But the thing is, I could have at least built something on it. Like, I could have, like, essentially repainted it. I could have, like, put a new fresh coat of paint on it and made it into the sort of thing I wanted. And then that way I wouldn't have to build all of the encounters from the ground up. But the thing is like, what happened was I found the best big baddie. And I got so excited about it that I didn't think about, you know, the fact that I wouldn't know what I'm doing for the rest of it. But I got excited with everything else. I was like, oh, I got a story, and I had everything fleshed out for the story. And then I got to the encounters that I had to build, and specifically the combat encounters. And I've been trying to use a combat calculator, or yeah, combat encounter calculator, whatever it's called. And I'm still struggling. I still don't know how I want to go about it, how I want the mechanics to be. It's just turning out to be a lot more work than I expected. And it's come to a grinding halt. So Anarchic Fox is running the game for someone who always runs the game is the gateway drug. Right? Left-Handed Jedi says, the first time I DM'd was in 1980. Oh boy, that was quite a while ago. That was before I was born. And it was based in Middle Earth around Isengard. And it was a disaster, but fun as hell. That does sound awesome. We had a blast, made so many mistakes, but damn, I missed that. And Arcade Fox says, my first game was in 86, 87 in the Forgotten Realms when they were cool. And I did not have any core rule books. We just made shit up from a rough understanding of what the fuck Back Zero and AC meant. And Arcade Fox says, wing it. Vic, just wing it. You know, that's really a good, that's good advice. I think what I need to do, because I'm really scared that I'm not going to be good at improvising, with how much brain fog I tend to get. And so I was just trying to essentially give myself as much as much of a like a back structure, you know, like some sort of skeleton that I could build on, so that in case I struggled with remembering anything or coming up with details, like I can really launch down an improv train, for lack of a better term, if I have a good prompt. And so I was just trying to think of how to give myself a good prompt, especially when I have never, I've never like been a game master. I've done narrations. I've helped like lead and guide role plays and created, you know, some really fun adventures specifically for roleplay. But I have never guided combat, like, ever. I've only ever done like either a shared thing where we're like, you know, this is the table we're using, and that we'll just pick from this table and we'll improv how we go about it. But I guess I'm just like, I'm nervous that I'm really gonna fuck up improv on combat, or that I'm really gonna fuck up improv on descriptions, you know? Okay, Fox. Oh my gosh. It almost sounds like you're calling out Fern right now. I really hope that Fern watches this later. So, Anarchic Fox says, people care less about rules and more about fun. I mean, some people care more about rules, I guess. but they play Pathfinder. That's pretty much word for word for Fern Love Bond. I love them dearly. They are a great roleplay friend. I've enjoyed every game they've been a part of, and it's funny because they have the same roleplay, thing. The roleplay, like, what's the term I'm looking for? Like, when they get into the game, they just want to go by. They want the rules to only help facilitate the roleplay. They don't want it to be in charge of the roleplay. But when it comes to like trying to figure out what something does, or like how to make a character, or like just literally anything that isn't strict roleplay, they're like, well, let's like whip out the rule book and see what, that's a good question. Does that even work? How does that work? How would I go about that? And then we go on a really long train of rule lawyering, trying to figure out what sort of thing is in a rule, and of course they love Pathfinder. Lieutenant Jedi says, if you can see action in your head, go with that. Treat it like a movie scene. Anarchic Fox says, I did a lot of rules-focused games. They can be a lot of fun. Anarchic Fox says to Lieutenant Jedi, hell yeah, that makes some of the best scenes I've ever done. That's a really good point. That's a really good point. I really appreciate that. I'm going to learn a lot from this if we get to the rest of the thing. But I'm learning a lot from you guys as well. So far we have, by the way, we're doing a poll that is about Tater the Bard, where he has a video called The Nathan Saga, which is a long video that, sorry, I ran out of breath, that goes into the story of all the drama he got from the worst dungeon master he has ever had. And so you can vote to tell me whether or not you want to see me react to the Nathan Saga. So it would be this guy's worst DM ever. From what I've heard, it's a lot of drama. Lieutenant Jedi says, I see myself as a movie director and choreograph what actions the characters give me as the script. That's a good point. Yeah, I think what I need to do is what's really been intimidating me right now has been trying to balance stat blocks versus like using the stat blocks versus so modifying them to make a stat block stronger, or have more things that are relevant to the like theme or something, versus just like adding a lot of them in there. And I think what I need to do is I just need to go in with an overall vision of what I want the encounter to just have. So instead of being like, how do I calculate this so that, do I need to upgrade this stat block, or do I need to like add more of them? And what happens if I add more of them? Will this, be super easy? What am I going to do? Stuff like that. I need to just be like, here's what I want to have in the encounter. And then, just in case things are too easy and they knock a bunch of guys out and it wasn't supposed to be a super easy encounter, I can add more hit points, you know, to like more health if I need to, or behind the scenes and them not know about it. Or I can have some stat blocks ready for more characters that I want to throw out there. Um, and I just need to go for the overall idea that I want. Lieutenant Jedi says, paint a picture and let them interact. And yes, you are going to mess up. Everyone does. For sure, for sure. My main problem is the last thing I want is for my players to be bored. You know, like I really don't want their takeaway to be that was really boring, or I didn't have fun, or this was not worth it. I shouldn't have come. You know, I really don't want it. I don't want them to feel that way. And so that's kind of what's been on my mind. Like, how do I make it so that they're not bored, or that they don't hate that they joined? You know, I don't want them to regret joining. So I just need to accept that the first time is going to be it's going to have a lot of mistakes, and I need to just go for it. So that's the problem when you're a perfectionist. You're like, I need to meet this bar, and if I don't meet this bar, then I'm going to procrastinate. Because for some reason, I think that I'll be able to meet the bar if I just put it aside for a really long time. I don't know what the heck my brain is going for. It's more like, okay, I'm going to work on that tomorrow when I feel like I'm in the brain state to do it. And then that just doesn't end up happening. So, all right, let's keep going.
In the interest of fairness, we'll start with me sharing my biggest DM mistake. When I was like 13 and running my first campaign for my friends in middle school, I still thought that buttholes were funny. And so the BBEG of our campaign was a sphinx, but it was a butthole sphinx, and it was called the Sphinxter. We spent the campaign hunting down and trying to kill the Sphinxter, and I still think about that. That was the first monster I ever homebrewed. But now that I've shared my Sphinxter with you all, let's get into your dungeon mastering mistakes.
Look, that pun. I don't know. I feel like maybe the BBEG didn't need to be the Sphinxter, but you could have had like a little like mini boss, you know, be the Sphinxter. I don't think that's an awful idea. Lieutenant Jedi says, do not beat yourself up over it. Your first time is going to be rough, but you are having fun, so will they. Okay. I appreciate it. You're very kind. Thank you for the pep talk. I will get started on it. In fact, Wednesday, and I have Wednesday and the weekend off. So if I don't have time tomorrow, then certainly this weekend I will start on the first encounter. The funny thing is that I think I pretty much finished the final encounter. Like I've already got an idea of what I want the final encounter to be, and I've already got like the little, like everything that I need for that. It's so weird that I finished the final encounter, but it's because I kind of like I was like I want the focus to be the bad guy and what the characters decide to do to handle the bad guy. And I actually came up with at least 3 different scenarios for what I could throw if they decide to go different ways. But the funny thing is like I'm struggling with like the first encounter, which it's based off the concept. It's like a little tower dungeon sort of thing. So, you know, each fight will get progressively harder. And so the first fight should be really easy, and for some reason when I'm trying to do the first fight, like, I'm not happy with it. Anarchic Box's players are as responsible for their fun as well as it's all collaborative. Nobody has fun with everything all the time. Anarchic Box says so many times I've ended a session and everyone was, that was great. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Left-handed Jedi. If you need help, just ask, or if you want to run it by someone, I have free time. Anarchic Box says safeties. Oh my gosh, you guys are so awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. I think I've just been really kind of getting in my head about it. So much so that when I had a medical procedure thing pop up that I knew was going to kind of put me out of commission for a couple weeks, I was like, you know, I'm just going to wait until I come back from that. Because I was working I was working on it at least up to a week before that procedure. And then I was like, I'm just going to take a break and focus on recovering. And then I had the procedure, and yeah, you know, it took me a little while to recover, but it took less time than I thought it would. And I ended up not needing as much time to recover, but I kept thinking that my brain would, like, I'd be able to get my head back into it. And it just kind of felt like I could never get my head back into it. You know, it always felt like I was frustrated every time. It felt like a writer's block sort of thing. So for sure, I might hit you guys up for some encounter advice. But real quick, let's do some quick drink updates, because we've had a lot of excuse me one second, I gotta readjust. Okay. We've had a lot of drink triggers, I think. So we've had several tangents by now. We've also had talking about tabletop games that we've done. So let's say we've gone on 3 tangents. I don't know how many we've actually gone on, but that seems about right. 3 tangents. We have talked about at least one tabletop game that I'm not actively playing or have played, but it's a tabletop game that I'm planning. So I feel like that meets the spirit of the rule. So that's 4 drinks. What else? And I have to look at my drink rules again. I can't believe I can't remember them. This is what I'm talking about. I have such terrible memory with brain fog. Okay. So, I haven't ruined this stream, I don't think. Technically, I haven't technologically ruined the stream. Vic gets distracted with tangents, for sure. Got all those. We talked about a TTRPG. I don't think that I've talked about any other TTRPG that I've played or am playing. So I think we'll do 4 drinks. I think 4 drinks makes sense. So, unless anybody else has something they would like to say that I've triggered, I'm going to take 4 drinks. And while I take those 4 drinks, I want everybody to tell me what their favorite combat encounter was that wasn't a boss fight. Okay, that's 1. Uh-oh, I'm gonna run out. 2. Only had enough for 3. Uh-oh, I'm gonna have to do a quick intermission. Which is fine, it's about 15 minutes past the intermission point. We're gonna do a quick intermission so I can finish the drinks So that is 3 drinks, so we're up to 5. I need to go up to 6. Let's go with... Let's see, we are going to go up to 5 here. Okay. And I'm going to quickly catch up on chat. Anarchic Fox, who knows me, says, if I know you at all, you are overanalyzing the shit out of this fic. You will do well, and then overanalyze how it went. Oh, 100% I'll overanalyze. I can't promise I'll do it well, but I will overanalyze, like I am already. Left-Handed Jedi says, I like converting TV and movie monsters for 5e. Ooh. My latest one is the water slime from a Stephen King anthology. Very cool. Anarchic Fox says, making monsters is so much fun. Anarchic Fox says, all the tangents. Left-Handed Jedi says, one of the most memorable one-shots was running the cube setting from the movie of the same name. Huh, I don't think I've seen that movie. Anarchic Fox appears to be familiar with it, saying, I've always thought the cube would make a great setting place. And Left-Handed Jedi says, my daughter still talks about it. Very cool. Okay, so you guys keep talking about your favorite encounters. You can include boss encounters if you like, but I would prefer if you, since I feel really good about my boss encounter, I would love to see what you guys thought about your favorite non-boss encounters. They can be like mini bosses or something like that. But let me know, and honestly, I'll just eat up anything you've got. I'm sure I'll be able to like store it and use it for ideas later. So just talk about any encounters you love. But they need to be combat encounters or combat adjacent, as in they were meant to be combat, or maybe it looked like it was combat, or they were partially combat, and then you found another way to solve it, or your players found another way to solve it. You know, let me know. Anything that works. So I will be right back. I'm going to go get a drink refill. Then I'll finish the drinks, and then we will do a quick update on Patreon and continue with Tater the Bard, and maybe try and play Guild Wars 2 while I'm doing it. I tend to go on too many tangents to actually play the game. Who would have guessed? Gosh, not me. All right, I'll be right back. am so sorry that took longer than I wanted it to. I came back just in time, like within a couple minutes, but the moment I went to sit down, I unplugged my entire setup. So then I like was racing to plug everything back in, and I go to finally sit down, and then everything that I set up so that I could try and sit up straight also exploded, and it just like fell down behind the bed. So yeah, so sorry, sorry for the wait there. Okay, so we are back, and I just want to make this real quick, but I wanted to let everybody know that it is because of you that you've made this stream possible, and you make it possible for me to continue to be here every day, to bring on new games, and in fact, I was able to afford the expansions for the three main expansions for Guild Wars 2 because of you. You made it possible, and that was the major motivation that I wanted to try and play it with you guys if I can ever get the chance, because it's your help on Patreon made it so that I could afford to do it without worrying about dipping into any funds for my health bills. Everything that I have usually goes towards trying to pay for all my medical stuff. And because of that, I never have anything left over to, do for fun as a hobby. And, I don't have an income. But you guys have made it so that I have a tiny bit enough of an income. It may not be like a stable income, but you've made it so that I have a tiny bit of an income that I can play games that we both want to see, that we can both enjoy. And I am so excited to share that with you. And it's because of your amazing help, and also because I was encouraged by my wonderful friends and supporters that I have made some more Patreon tiers that go beyond $1. They have more perks. They include things like, and there's also a separate thing where we can have gaming time together, but we can schedule it in advance and ensure that it's going to happen. And you don't have to pay a monthly tier or anything. You can just do a one-time thing if you want. I've included things depending on the tier, a doodle, or things like getting to suggest emojis, and then eventually for a high enough tier you get your own custom emoji. Things that we can do that we can already implement in the Ready to Roleplay server, and then eventually implement in the YouTube channel once we've had enough subscribers to get that monetization. And I just want to thank you guys so much for making this possible. And if you want to see more fun and more games and more live streams and more perks, you can make that happen by supporting me on Patreon. Don't forget that Left-Handed Jedi has posted links for 2 free Patreon memberships. They are also posted in the Gifts and Freebies channel of the Ready to Roleplay server that is linked on screen and also in the description. And if you just want to do a one-time donation, that's also available for Venmo and CashApp in my description. And for any that I receive on stream, I will take a drink, no matter what they're, as long as I guess they're at least, I don't know, 99 cents or something like that. I'll take a drink. So I don't, is that like, can you go lower than that as far as transfers on Venmo and CashApp? I don't even know, but you know, just in case, 99 cents or something like that, and I'll take a drink on screen. And you can include a message on there that I'll read, you know, stuff like that, or you can request perks or whatever, anything that's equivalent. So even if, you know, it's not in your budget, which I am one of those people who, you know, I can't monetarily support my favorite creators and it kills me. The best way that you can do that, and the way that I always try to help my favorite creators, is by engaging with the stream. So liking, subscribing, commenting, chatting in the live chat, letting people know that you would enjoy this stream and that others should too. And if you think that there are people who would really enjoy this, you know, share it out. So thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this. You guys are awesome. And I really hope that we can keep doing what we're doing for a long time to come, because I really enjoy doing this with you. And I also want to get to the point where I can like be on video more, like I was the last time I did the React stream. I want to, you know, improve and get to the point where like it's not, it doesn't just wipe me out entirely to get ready just in time for the stream. So that would be awesome. So let me catch up with chat before we continue. We have the Anarchic Fox talking about how he wants to do a Call of Cthulhu game with the Scooby Gang. And the pretense is that it's just Scooby-Doo, but the monster is an eldritch horror and it goes dark in the third act. I love that. And then it was fun because playing a badger when you don't care if the character ties is on brand for badgers because you're reincarnated as a badger. I love that. Hell yeah. 100%. Randall, good to see you. Thanks for joining today. Lovely to have you. Left-Handed Jedi says, maybe I'll run a one-shot where all the players died, a total party knockout, and a chaos god / goddess brings them back as small critters and they have to finish the dungeon. That's very cute. Sounds like, what was it? Is it Over the Garden Wall? There's like some sort of, and that might be the movie, but there, I know that there is a, an actual game, like world setup sort of thing, where you all play critters like badgers and rabbits and you know, small birds and things like that. Lovely. Oh, kitties. I love healthy kitties. Glad to hear everybody's doing well. And oh, Anarchic Fox says, I once ran a game where everyone was dead and didn't know it. Everything was set in the spirit realm, and they thought the realm of the living was the actual spirit world. And it was great reveal. Lovely. I love that. Mouse Guard. Thank you, Anarchic Fox. Thank you. Yep, that's what I was thinking of. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You know, I don't know if I ever finished writing that the tabletop role-playing game campaign stuff. Let's see, it was things like character breakdown, pros and cons, and going all over the plot. Yep, okay. Awesome. I'm glad that stayed in the history. Okay, very nice. Alrighty, let's keep going. I wonder if I can actually pull up Guild Wars now and play, because I'm bad at that. Oh, I did want to take the drink real quick because I was supposed to take the 6th drink after I refilled. All right, that's 6. And reminder, you can make me take a drink, although it is just water, so I don't know, like, I know for some people, the excitement of making someone drink on stream is that they get, you know, drunk, and that's not going to happen with water. However, the longer I go on a stream, I do get fatigue drunk. So you could, I guess, pay to like make me go longer on a stream. Maybe I'll do one of those streams. Like every time somebody sends a donation, I will, you know, tack on another 15 minutes or something. And the longer it goes, the more drunk I sound. Alrighty, here we go.
A few years ago, I DM'd and played with a couple of friends from school. I do not know why, but I kept thinking that being a DM also means that you are playing against your friends. So when they easily won encounters and defeated my bosses, even when I buffed them, I got very mad and frustrated. Sometimes I even yelled at them and read the story I prepared very annoyed just to leave shortly after. This, of course, led to the players no longer wanting to play. I am still very ashamed of this, and all I can say to defend myself is that I was a teenager. Anyways, I have a lot more experience with it now, and I learned, most importantly, even when you are DMing, you are playing with your friends, and you all should have fun, otherwise something isn't right. I love that we're starting with this DM mistake because the poster acknowledges that they've grown from it, and I'm trying to share the growth with you all. I'm trying to like psychically transpose these mistakes into new Dungeon Master brains so that new Dungeon Masters have an innate knowledge of these things. I definitely could be trusted with the ability to psychically beam things into people's brains. CIA, if you have that technology, I should be the one who's allowed to use it. Anyways, yes, the DM versus player mentality thing is a mistake that I think a lot of people make, especially when you're younger and you're learning D&D. You have like a party of people doing a combat, fighting against one person at the end of the table. It's very easy to have the dynamic of like Dungeon Master versus player. I get it. Yelling at your players though, because they defeated your boss, I think we can all agree that that's suboptimal. I'm not gonna push that one. I just want everybody here to agree, not good. But the mistake,
I don't know how you get as far as being a dungeon master and being like, no, I'm mad that they defeated my character. They're supposed to. I mean, I get it if everyone's agreed, like, we want it to be a challenging thing where there is the possibility of a total party knockout, but like, to be like pissed off that they beat them? Can't say I understand that.
mistakes you make dungeon mastering as a teenager actually get scrubbed off of your dungeon master legal record. It's just like how the Sphinxter thing, you can't hold me accountable for that anymore because I was a teenager. But yes, the DM versus player mentality thing is a somewhat common mistake. I'm glad that you learned from it, because if it was DM versus players, like, the dungeon master can just win. You can just drop boulders on your party if you really want to, so don't have that mentality. I once accidentally let a player play an invincible gelatinous cube. How did you do that? I don't want to be mean about this. How did that happen? When the character creation process was going on and your player said, hey, I'd like to play this gelatinous cube that can't take damage. We said yes. I'm sure there's more to it, but what I would say as a solution to this, if this were to happen in my game, a character sent me a homebrew gelatinous cube class and I didn't read it because I was too busy painting my little Warhammer miniatures. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then session 2 happens and I'm like, oh, you can't take damage? Word? Talk to your player, say, hey, I think I goofed up by letting you play the super mega invincible class. Let's rework this a little bit. Our next mistake, I left a boat in the harbor for ambience. Left
a boat in the harbor for ambiance. Love that. People are talking about Baldur's Gate 3. I have played it. And in fact, that was my first introduction to the D&D like game mechanics. I think I had already started playing Anarchic Fox's games at that point, but we didn't play any D&D based games, so just wasn't wasn't familiar with it. It was kind of nice. I mean, obviously, it is not one to one, and a video game will never be one to one with the absolute freedom that comes with having, total freedom to do whatever the hell you want with actual people. But I mean, it's nice if you like want to do like a solo, like if you're like, I want the D&D experience, but I want to play it solo, and I still want to do a video game where I can like have a character that is visibly represented in a visible world and all that stuff. Like, I get that, because they have so many different ways that you can handle a situation. I feel like the areas that you could go to were limited, personally. That's just me. But yes, I did feel that it was as far as like open world goes, like you're never gonna beat Skyrim open world, but also Skyrim, like, you were very limited in the types of responses that you could have for any particular thing. Now you could be very what's the word I'm looking for? Very like diverse in what you choose to do, or like what sort of I'm trying to think of the terms, like what sort of my brain is dying. This is what happens when I try to play games at the same time. My brain dies. Or at least play games at the same time that require like thinking about what you're gonna do. I do this all the damn time. This is why I'm no fun when I'm playing with friends and they're like, hey, you just like stopped talking. Anyway, yeah, so Skyrim, like, I feel like is gonna be like, it's your top tier like open world sort of thing. Baldur's Gate 3, it is open world, but I would say it's more open to how your character can respond. So there was one downside. I felt like I didn't have a good, like, unless you played one of the origin characters, which includes the Dark Urge. It felt like I didn't have like a character that I could flesh out that had like their own story going on, it's hard to explain. Like, so how with when you build a character, you can give them like a little background and everything. Well, in Baldur's Gate 3, you get like a basic background, but you can't build up like a character personality. I mean, I don't know. It feels like it feels very limited in the type of way that you can play your character, is what I'm saying. I would say that you have the most freedom in how your character responds to your team members, like your party members. But yeah, so it has its good sides, it has its bad sides. Don't go in there expecting that it's going to be a tabletop role playing game, because it's definitely not going to be one. Like 100%, no way. But it's a nice video game. You know, it's, as far as video games go, it's a nice one. And I will, let me switch the thingy back on.
3 years ago, I was running a zombie apocalypse campaign. It was my first major campaign I was DMing with this party, and I had spent months homebrewing this thing together. Rebuilt zombies from scratch, designed maps and encounters and survivor tribes, and had 2 notebooks full of campaign notes with side quest options, lore details, subtle clues to the BBEG's identity and motivation, dialogue trees for NPCs beginning to turn. I mean, I had done a ton of work here, and just outside the starting city, I had made a harbor where I left a single decent-sized trading boat docked poorly and clearly abandoned to add to the ambiance of everyone is gone, a disaster happened here. I had checked, and no one had any background on proficiencies with boats or water vehicles. It was just there, so the harbor wasn't empty because no trade town would have had an empty dock. They found it on their 3rd session. My players rolled multiple nat 20s regarding the sailing and navigation of the boat. They managed to leave the harbor, determined not to travel over infested lands I had designed my campaign around, and thus began the worst game of DM party cat and mouse I've ever been a part of. The boat began to leak, and the artificer creatively found a way to turn that into further propulsion. They got caught in a storm, and they used spells to avoid capsizing, a creative use of create and destroy water, I admit. They were boarded by sirens, and they sacrificed a character rather than divert their course. Their ship was infested by zombies while they gathered supplies, and they found a way to essentially fumigate the ship and clear the above deck zombies. I could not get them to abandon the boat, I could not manage to destroy the boat, and the efforts to steal them away from the boat were thwarted, avoided, or defeated. They circumvented my entire original campaign, literally sailing by it all, went around the continent and sailed right into the final spell-contained area where the BBEG was. They had none of the items, lore, spells, backgrounds, hints, or weapons I had put together for this BBEG and scattered around this continent for them to find. They walked into that final town with nothing but the levels they had accumulated from defeating all my efforts to sink their stupid boat. I had to scramble to rebuild that town into something they could actually work with because 1, they couldn't leave again, and 2, we were running out of time for the campaign because there was an extended break from the group. In the end, they congratulated me on the use of odd encounters, fascinating story design, and unique side quest hooks. Only one of those players knows that I accepted those thanks with tears in my eyes and biting my tongue, thinking of all the notebooks behind my screen and all the months of design they would never see. The lesson I learned was that even if you think it's impossible for your players to find a way to use X object, don't put it in the environment if you don't want them to find a way to use it, because they will find a way. So you left this comment on my post asking for people's dungeon mastering mistake, and I do understand why this feels like a mistake to you. But I'm gonna counter argue that you absolutely crushed it on this campaign. As a dungeon master, if you want to sink the boat that your party is in, you could sink the boat in a very unfair way. You could just go, haha, Kraken punches big hole in the bottom, bye-bye boat. But it was clear that your players really wanted this boat. This boat was like their emotional support vehicle, and you challenged your players having this boat, but they set their hearts on having this boat, and they got to have a fun boat. I do understand as a dungeon master when you prep all of this stuff behind your DM screen, and then your party super mega ultra avoids that, that is frustrating. I 100% get that. I would say that you maybe could have moved all of the settlements and NPCs and clues and stuff from where you had them originally to like the coastline cities that I'm assuming your party was stopping out for supplies. But this story does not read as a dungeon master mistake. This story reads as you rolling with the punches really well and creating a really cool story for your players that they were very clearly happy with. I'm not going to chalk up leaving a boat somewhere as a personal DM failure, because I promise you, if you hadn't have left the boat there, your players probably would have found something else stupid to screw up your plan. Dungeon mastering is not about keeping your party from getting their hands on stupid items. It's about rolling with it once your party has acquired the stupid items, because you're not going to keep all the stupid away from D&D players. Have you seen them? Next mistake we got, placing too much pressure on myself, and despite being
players are stupid magnets. And I would go so far as, and I'm gonna have to take a drink for this, for my party that my game master Wolfo is overseeing, we built the party to be stupid. Like, there was not an ounce of intelligence in that party that we made. I am told by my party members that my character is the smart one, that makes no sense. She is like 100% the drunk girl who's way too invested in everything. So maybe it's more to say that everyone's really stupid and she won the stupid Olympics or something. I don't know. Like, I can't tell you. But personally, as long as like the whole party and group has like signed up for it, embrace the stupid. The stupid's what makes it fun. Oh yeah, Anarchic Fluxes. So functionally, you have to play as a very reactive player in a story, not be a proactive player. That sounds like a great campaign. It's freaking cool. I'm with Tater on this assessment. Yep, agreed. Like as I was hearing it, I was like, that sounds like exactly what a game master does. Like it essentially it became 100% improv campaign. But I also feel like any writer could find a way to incorporate some of their things. You just have to essentially kind of change the locations. And there's a lot of cases where maybe like in the heat of the moment, you can't think of how you're supposed to incorporate it. But after the session is over and you're like, how can I get them this like fundamental part of the puzzle that they need in order to face the big bad? Well, we'll make it so that their boat, you know, runs into an area where the only way to get through and have their boat intact is to stop at this port, or that something happens to the boat and they have to find somebody to fix it, or you know, so there's a way to go about it so that you bring the thing to the players, have them kind of get around and be like, this is my emotional support boat. What do we do with the emotional support boat? Oh my gosh, this is like the high tension. Our emotional support boat is like up in the air. What are we gonna do? We need to keep the emotional support boat alive. And you just have a like tiny little side quest so that they can get the one thing that they don't know that they need that is necessary to do the big bad that you want. Anarchic Fox says the Monty Python twit race comes to mind. Yes. Anarchic Fox says, I'm more frustrated my players don't do anything. The decision paralysis starts running the game. I have to take a minute and find a way to move things along. That is tough, yeah. And that's kind of where I get, you know, if I need little prompts. Like I need something to be like, here's the general theme we're going for, and then I'm like, okay, I know what to do with this. Let's roll this way, you know? Especially if I'm like in a totally new game, I've never played before, I don't know the mechanics, I don't know the world, anything about it, I tend to be pretty lost until I get an idea of what's going on. It does take me a little while. By the way, I did talk about my game, so I'm gonna have to take a drink. All right. That is one drink. Let me adjust. We are up to 7 now. All right, let's keep going.
Being a semi-forever dungeon master for my group of 2 years, not getting past more than 3 or 4 sessions in any given campaign because despite them loving it, I always felt it wasn't good enough because I felt like I hadn't put enough effort into the story or world.
Let's back up a little bit, sorry.
gonna keep all the stupid away from D&D players. Have you seen them? Next mistake we got, placing too much pressure on myself, and despite being a semi-forever dungeon master for my group of 2 years, not getting past more than 3 or 4 sessions in any given campaign because despite them loving it, I always felt it wasn't good enough because I felt like I hadn't put enough effort into the story or world, even though most of the time the players wouldn't really care whether I had or not. Hey, so this is a bit of advice about Dungeons and
Yes. I haven't even started. Literally, have not had a session, and I already feel this way. Already. 100%. That's got to be one thing I need to be really careful about, because the last thing I want to do is for the players to be like, so when's our next session? And I'll be like, you know, I don't know. I'm still working on things. Like, I 100% cannot do that. Which would mean that I'm way more likely to try to over-prepare an entire campaign. So things like what I'm doing with this adventure. Now, it is an adventure. I kind of do expect the adventure to be to have a good idea of the adventure that you want to do. Like, be like, these are the main story beats, and you know, these main story beats are, you know, we're gonna go for these. You know, we'll see how it goes, but yeah. So I do expect that with an adventure. For a whole campaign, you know, I don't know. You may have like some general ideas of where you want it to go, but I can't say if you're really supposed to have that all planned out. But then again, I haven't even done a session yet, so who the fuck knows?
Dragons, but also just about life in general, you are always going to be your own worst critic. Especially if you are someone who cares very greatly about your campaign, your attention is always going to be drawn to all of the little moments that you aren't quite happy with, right? I promise you, your players are not thinking about the same things. You want to know what the fix to this is? This genuinely isn't a bad thing. I do this all the time. When you wrap up your session, you look at all your players and you go, hey, everyone have fun? Did we like that session? And then when they go, yeah, that was great, you go, oh, okay, people are happy. Asking for reassurance is not a bad thing. If your players are actively loving your campaign, I promise that you're more than good enough at dungeon mastering, and respectfully, the little voice in your head that's telling you, hey, you're not good enough at dungeon mastering, shut up. Shut up. Honestly, just shut your mouth. You're doing great. Next DM mistake. What do you do when you give your players too much armor class? Somehow, our bard had an armor class of 23, and the rogue had an armor class of 25. I did the only thing I could think of and set a trap in the dungeon that took the wild pardas, that took the whole party's armor class down 7 levels. Was this the right thing to do, or was this a desperate attempt to try and nerf the players? If your players have gotten that high of an armor class, I suspect it's because you've given them items that made their armor class higher. And so our first step is to look at the magic items that we give our party and go, will this make my rogue have a 25 armor class? And if the answer is yes, you know, think about that. But also, having powerful players is not a bad thing, okay? You know what makes players feel like they're cool and main characters and makes them feel like fantasy heroes? Having really powerful characters. If you gave them a 25 armor class, what's done is done. Let them feel powerful, then work around it and screw them over. I want to be really clear. I am not saying that you should tailor every combat encounter to your party's weaknesses. Let them feel cool. Throw them up against a bunch of bandits that can't really touch them and let your rogue just stand there parrying and dodging and everything, and they go, oh my god, I'm a god! And then have them roll a constitution saving throw. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume the rogue does not have a very high constitution saving throw. Moving on. In the first campaign I ran, I let my players adopt every pet and creature they saw. They ended up with an owlbear as a pet when they were level 2. The owlbear was so OP in fights, but at the end they decided to check if a ring was cursed by putting it on the owlbear claw. Part of the curse was that it can't be removed. There is a dungeon master philosophy I've seen that says don't put anything in your D&D campaign that you don't want your party to have access to, because everything they see, they will want to get their grubby little Dungeons and Dragons players' hands on. But this is kind kind of like the boat in the zombie apocalypse instance, your players are gonna get their hands on stupid stuff. Like, that's just how the game works. D&D players are goblins. You could say, oh, it was a mistake to let them encounter an owlbear, but like, owlbears are cool, you know? It happens. If your party wants to adopt literally everything they come across, make those things a liability.
That is my character right now in the campaign that we're doing, which I'm gonna have to take a drink, but it's 100%. My character is like, does it have fur? Yes. If yes, is it walking on 4 legs? If yes, can I convince it to like me? She is a bard, so her persuasion is pretty high, which you would think, well, I mean, persuasion can only help you as far as you can speak with them. She can speak with them, is the problem. Because I made sure that she had speaking with animals. Hey, Jester, damn, now I gotta take 4 drinks. Wow, all right. If they get invested, that is a clue they're having fun. Yeah, if I could, per 100. 7, how do we get the 4th drink to hit 11? Excellent. Jester, am I in your campaign yet? Jester, yeah, I mean, it's the one that I'm building, you mean? Yeah, if you're, you know, if it's gonna replace the Thursday one, so, everybody who plays on Thursdays, you can 100% join. All right, that's 1. All right, I want everybody to tell me their favorite time that they saw a stupid solution in a campaign while I take 3 more drinks. That's 2. That's 3. 3 for Jester, and then 1 for me talking about my campaign. That's 4. All right. It is past 10. So what we'll do is we'll have Tater finish up what he's about to say. And what do you think, guys? Is this something we want to continue for the next reaction stream, or do we want to move on to the next video, which I can tell you what that will be in just a minute. So that will be 11. We got 11 drinks. And so the next videos that we will be reacting to, I think they're all pretty chill, but I need to double check.
Dice represent.
Okay, so the next videos that we're going to react to are either designing a dice system that feels like magic, not math, by Blue Shiners, or let's see what the next one is. A new breed of cosmic horror. Now, this one I have seen before, but I love it so much that I think you guys should see it too. And that, by the way, is by Tilka. Thanks so much for joining me today, Jedi. Lovely to have you. Have a good one. Ninjester says, a good thing Noxirus only has 2 legs. Then again, I've seen the origin art for his original token. Jester says, that's 7-Eleven, and I am. Nice. Nice, nice. All right. Yeah, so what do we think? Do we want to continue with viewing this video for the next reaction stream? We want to keep seeing worse dungeon mastering mistakes? Or do we want to continue with designing a, or do we want to start a new video with designing a dice system that feels like magic, not math? The next time we do a reaction stream. You guys let me know. Tell me in the comments if you want to continue this video or start the next one. Eventually we will, Jedi gave a great suggestion that I would like to give a shot to see if I have anything like, you know, productive or, you know, something that would add, not, you know, just take away from the video. If I were to watch a tabletop role-playing game campaign that I haven't seen yet and react to it live with you guys, and we would keep watching it. Now, that being said, campaigns, especially one session, usually like 3 to 4 hours. So we're probably going to be reacting to like greatest hits, maybe. So, okay, Anarchic Fox says, I do like me some good design. So perhaps we have 1 vote for starting the new video. And by the way, we are split down the middle between yes and potatoes for Nathan's Saga. And since potatoes is not really an answer, I guess that means that the yes has it. I think that means the yes has it. So eventually we're going to add the Nathan Saga from Tater the Bard to the React list. So I will go ahead and do that. Let's add Tater the Bard. So Nathan Saga, Tater the Bard. Jester says, dice system! I wondered if the Dice Goblin would want to hear about designing a dice system. You know, when I'm always hesitant about putting a third option to a yes or no question, because I'm like, they're gonna pick the silly answer. Or the silly answer. Like, if I put potatoes, they're gonna pick potatoes. But I did stipulate, and this was probably before more people arrived, if you want to say yes and potatoes, I would rather you answer the poll yes and then say potatoes in the chat. Because if you just say yes in the chat, I don't know what you're saying. But if you say potatoes in the chat, I know what you're talking about. Anarchic says the troll option is always the answer. It's a very tempting one. It is. Okay. So the only people who are currently typing in the chat have both said that they want to see designing a dice system. So we will put that on the queue. That'll be next up. So let's move these up. I'll make this one. And I did have a Dungeons and Discourse video that was news a month ago. That was before I had to skip a week, and back then it was, you know, like a little over a week old. So I was like, oh, it'll be fine to cover. Too late. So if you guys have any like news that you want me to cover, I can. That's no problem. Let me make sure I'm not dying. Where am I? I am kind of in a conspicuous area that I should not be. Let me move this person over to this waypoint, and we'll have her chill here. And did somebody put bleeding on me? Who the hell put bleeding on me? So weird. Okay, whatever. We'll log out, go back to character select. And let's let Tater finish what he was saying. Hey, we got the readers. Love to see the read raiders. I'm so sorry. You're literally about to see me wrap up, but what is going on? Root angles or root angles? What are... I can't... I have no idea what the context for this is. I assume it was related to your stream. Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Let's go ahead and let Tater finish what he was saying, and then we will wrap it up, and we'll start the next React. I gotta find a different... I gotta find a name. I mean, this is Game and Gab in general, but like, what about like the React series of Game and Gab? You know, should there be a specific name for it? I don't know. Maybe that's just a Forest Valkai thing. But every time I want to say the next React, I want to call it Reacteria, but that doesn't make sense. And that's also already taken. We are talking about tabletop role-playing game, just for general game master stuff, though in this case, a lot of them are D&D. So let's let them finish this.
Stake to let them encounter an owlbear, but like, owlbears are cool, you know, it happens. If your party wants to adopt literally everything they come across, make those things a liability. If they love that owlbear, put that owlbear in great jeopardy. You could have some fur poachers who really want an owlbear pelt, and now you have a whole side quest about protecting this owlbear from the poacher. I remember my first time dungeon mastering. I was the only person who even slightly from the poacher.
That's it. There, he moves on. There's no segue. Just immediately moved on. Okay. So, yeah, the reason why I stopped on that is because that's currently the case. So my game master was so kind and recently gave my liability a little upgrade so that she didn't immediately die, because for some reason he only hits like nat 20s when it's an enemy going to hit my fluffy friend, and so he made her have a little bit more HP, just in case he has all of his enemies hit nat 20s in a row, like he did that one time, and she got down to 2 hit points. Okay. So we have Mark Reed, we have Aunt Jer, we have the Xandring, and Jester and Anarchic Fox still with us. I want to thank Left-Handed Jedi for being here for almost all of it. He just had to skedaddle at the very end. But thank you so much. Lovely to have all you guys. I am so excited to have you. And yeah, you finally got it, Anarchic Fox. The potatoes finally won. But it's a third silly answer that is not a no, so yes wins. We will react to the Nathan Saga, and I already put it on my list for the next reaction thing. So, what's going on next time? Next time on Gaming Gab. So actually, the next Gaming Gab, we will be picking up with a game. Wouldn't you know it? On Gaming Gab, there's games. But let's see. I'm trying to think. What was the last thing we left off with? Was it Mass Effect? I think it was. And so then we are going to go back to Little Kitty Big City, I'm pretty sure. Because, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Little Kitty Big City. But yeah, we'll do that one next. Yes, because it was the last mothership. Okay, so we'll do Little Kitty Big City. And here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we're gonna do, essentially, we'll do, so each game we do 2 weeks in a row. So for Little Kitty Big City, we do 2 Tuesdays in a row, and then we swap to the next one. So then the next one would be Mass Effect, and you do 2 weeks of that, so 2 Tuesdays in a row. And then I'm thinking, after we have 2 game rotations, so that's a month, so I would say once a month we'll do a reaction stream, unless people ask for more, in which case I would leave that up to my patrons. So you'll have to become a patron on my Patreon. That's in the description to decide if you want to see more reaction videos. So, and I see Jester saying, I'm a dice goblin, not a math goblin. So if we can remove the math from the magic rocks, I'm in. 100%. We definitely can do that with the next video. Let's see what the next video tells us, because since we've had our reaction for this month, we're going to say next month. So that will be the next 4 Tuesdays. So next Tuesday is Little Kitty Big City, Little Kitty Big City on the 8th, Mass Effect on the 15th and 22nd, and then on the 29th, we'll have a reaction stream, unless you want it sooner, in which case you can join my Patreon to tell me you want it sooner. And for that one, we'll do designing a dice system that feels like magic, not math. If you guys want me to do like a weekly reaction thing, we could technically do a third stream. Though I would say, you know, I gotta be honest, I think the quest to assess is like maybe too cerebral. I mean, it's got like some controversy to it and a lot of goofiness with it, but it's a lot of like macabre goofiness. It's dark humor, a lot of dark humor. So if people like joined my Patreon and told me, yo, replace the quest to assess with you know, reaction stuff, like I would not be opposed to that. So do what you like. And so that said, unless I hear otherwise from you guys, it will be the 29th. Yes. The 29th. So September 29th, we'll watch designing a game system that feels like magic, not math. And we'll, you know, hopefully take some of the scary math away. Now, I am a math tutor, so if you ever want some math tutoring for your gaming, honey, I got you. So, all right. Remember our question of the week, which is, what other videos do you want me to react to? You can tell me in the comments. I want to thank everybody who joined me today. Can't breathe, so I'm yawning. If you enjoyed this, consider doing the liking and the commenting and the subscribing and all this stuff. That's a free tip. You don't have to do Patreon stuff, because that tells me that you want to see more of the stuff that I have. Please remember that everybody has their own opinions, and all claims need to be independently verified and fact-checked. If you want more of me this week, I am live Fridays at 8 p.m. Central to play games, learn things, and rant. Let's see if there is somebody who we can raid. That is a good question. Is anybody live that I know? We know Mark isn't live. Oh man. None of them are like really yeah, we're kind of fucked. I mean, Sarah from Leaving Faith is pretty good, but it's not game related. But why not? Oh, I've seen a lot of overlap with the Bible guy and some gamers. So why not?
From people who one was
together.
Dead.
So this is Dalton of the Bible guy fame. So Dalton, the Bible guy, and he debates people about Bible thing. Why not watch Bible thing debate? Obviously, trying to teach people about, you know, the fact that what they read in their Bible, what they haven't read in their Bible is the thing that they should maybe try to focus on dismantling. And what they do read in their Bible, they should also dismantle it, because there's no reason to believe why that should be real. But in any case, Jester, am I still patronizing you? As far as I'm aware, you are. You're still on my supporters list, Jester. Oh, I gotta log in, but I'm pretty sure you are. By the way, if you want to join the Patreon, we have more things, more tiers beyond $1 that have more perks. And in fact, now I can actually look at the different perks for you. So we have 4 tiers now. So the $1 per month hatchling tier, you can suggest a topic in a game per month. You get your name displayed at the end of live streams, which you're about to see. And you also gain the LittleBit supporter role when you join the Ready to Roleplay server. So you'll get access to a private thread and, you know, prioritize chat and all that stuff. And then the $5 per month Wormling tier is, once there are enough people, exclusive ad-free member live streams, any queue priority above hatchling tier, name displayed at end of live streams, and then yeah, all the other stuff, and then it goes up to $10 and $15. I won't go through all the perks, but anyway, you got some cool stuff. You get a character doodle for some of them. You get queue priority. You get oh, you get to jump ahead for any wow. Okay, if I am hosting or game mastering a roleplay campaign or scene or whatever, you get to for that tier get to jump ahead of the queue. So if somebody's like, sure, I'll play for free, but you're like, no ho, I am on the Drake tier, then you get to jump ahead of that queue so that you can win. So very, very cool stuff. So if that's your thing, check it out. See what you like. Aside from that, that's it for me. So thank you for everybody who is stuck around. And I want to thank you for joining our chill goofs, gaffs, and gabs. I hope it provided a chance for you to kick back and listen until you're ready to sleep, or at least kept you company for the evening. I'm struggling to talk. If I don't see you this Friday, we'll meet again next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central, when we can resume our game while we gab. Fuck ICE, abolish and prosecute as our lovely, goddess of wokeness would say, Maya Atkinson. And thank you for joining me. Have a good night, everybody.